However, the Lomography smartphone, what? Oh, I'm so sweaty. Oh, it's so hot. And the battery is dying again. I don't have any more. What do I do? I've only used the Lomography film, what's this called again? Hey guys, my name is Glowburn and welcome back to my channel Go Grow Glowburn. I usually share travel vlogs around Australia, but currently I have been sharing things about film photography and testing out film cameras, mostly Lomography cameras, and this one will be the last film photography related video coming out on this channel. I might make some more in the future, but they will most likely be incorporated into travel vlogs. So I recently bought this kit of developing chemicals. I saw an ad on Gumtree and I have been specifically looking for a daylight developing tank called the Lab Box. The Lab Box is a new daylight developing tank that has been released by an Italian company called Ars Imago. And when I saw this Gumtree ad, I was like, ooh, I wonder if they're gonna separate the bundle, because I only wanted the Lab Box. So I messaged the seller and asked if they could, but they said, oh, it's a bundle. I don't want to separate it. It has to go with everything in there. So I was like, oh, okay, can you lessen the price and I'll pick it up from your house? And they said yes. So I think I bought it for like $200 and something. I can't remember. It was before we went away on our road trip. And I was researching on how to develop your own film, specifically black and white, because this bundle or kit only came with black and white chemicals and most of them were expired. But upon research, even though they are expired, they're still pretty usable as long as they don't smell or change color, or the colors have turned darker or something. Nah, they're fine. I developed my first 2 rolls actually, but I only filmed the first roll. For steps on how to develop your own black and white film, there are a lot of resources on the internet. I'm not gonna be going deeper into those because I'm not a professional. I watched videos from different film photography YouTube channels on how they develop their own film, and that's what I did. So I mixed the chemicals beforehand because mine came in powder form. There was one chemical that was in liquid concentrate form, but I figured from all the research that I did, I can mix that per roll developed. Everything except the developer I learned are reusable. I wanted to develop the Lomography Lady Grey black and white film. That was the oldest film that I had lying around, and I can't really remember what I had in there. But the problem was I could not retrieve the film leader. So with the Lab Box, you have to like get some of the film out, clip it onto this clip that will lead it onto a spool. So good thing was that I had another black and white film that I have shot on hand, and it was the Ilford HP5 Plus, and I shot it with a Sprocket Rocket because I haven't used that camera in a while and I wanted to try black and white with it. So I developed that one just following the instructions on an app called the Massive Dev Chart. If you are not sure how to develop your own black and white film, like how many agitations do you need to do, how long does the developer or specific chemicals need to be in there, the Massive Dev Chart, so it's this app, and this app saved my life pretty much. So this app has a list of possibly all of the black and white film that is in production today. So you can choose either 35mm, 120 medium format, or even sheet, and they have a ton of black and white film that you can probably develop by yourself. So what you do is you click on the film that you want to develop and then choose what kind of developer you have. The one that I had that came with the bundle is the Kodak D7E6. So I choose D76, but then you also have to choose if you're going to use a stock solution or if you want to dilute that solution. So choose your developer and then choose the ISO, and then it will tell you how long you have to put the developer in, when to apply agitations, and all these kinds of things. So for the Ilford HP5 Plus that I was developing, the app said to develop HP5 Plus in 1:1 dilution for 13 minutes at 20 degrees Celsius. Because I'm using the lab box, it is actually recommended for users to not fill up the whole tank and continuously agitate. But then I was thinking to myself, if I'm gonna stand there for 13 minutes just continually agitating, I'm gonna get tired. So the other way to do it is to fill up the lab box not exceeding 500 mils. I did 490, and to intermittently agitate. So I decided to fill up the whole tank with 490 mils of 1:1 diluted developer and followed the instructions on the lab box on how many times to agitate. Then I put the stop bath in and the fixer and hoped for the best. The one thing that I have to say though is that temperature is a little bit crucial. Some of the resources that I read said that you don't really have to get the temperature exactly what it is. On the Massive Dev Chart app, it said to develop Ilford HP5 Plus at 20 degrees Celsius. Now when I was developing that night, it was a very hot night. In fact, it was like a 40-degree day, like maximum for the day was 40 degrees, and when I was developing it was like 33 degrees. And so I was trying to get my chemicals at 20 degrees, and man, that was a struggle. I'm so thankful that I actually had the idea of putting water into a jug and chucking it into the freezer before I started developing, because then that helped me bring my temperatures down. So maybe next time when I develop black and white film again, I will probably do it on a colder day, or you know, where temperatures aren't as high as 40 degrees. Because it was my first time, I wanted to make sure that, you know, things were great. Chemicals were at 20 degrees or close to 20 degrees, even if it was like a little bit under or a little bit over. I don't really care as long as I get to develop films. Thankfully, they all came out great. Well, as great as they can be. So these are the photos that I developed from the Ilford HP5 Plus. Forgive me if these scans aren't as good as other people's scans. I've only used the Lomography smartphone film scanner because I don't have a film scanner at the moment, and this is what I got. I was still a bit frustrated with not being able to develop the Lomography Lady Grey that I was intending to develop. So I bit the bullet and tried developing the Lady Grey with the Patterson tank. I think it turned out fine. Images came out, and these are some of the images that I took. So my final thoughts of developing your own film is just do your research. Make sure to download the Massive Dev Chart app. The Massive Dev Chart app is very handy if you are developing black and white. It tells you when to agitate and also when to change your chemicals, how long your chemicals stay there. It's very, very handy. And also, I just found this out after I developed my films, that you can actually do temperature conversion. So, for example, if you can't really get to 20 degrees, or you just, you know, don't have time to wait until your chemicals go to 20 degrees, you can use the app, enter in your current temperature of your chemical, and then it will give you the time for developing. So that's very handy. Although I must say that the Massive Dev Chart app is not free. It is $13.99 on the Australian App Store. If you really want to develop your own film, just do it. It's fun, it's rewarding. And then when you take it out of the tank and then you see that there's photos in there, I think it's an accomplishment. It's probably one of my biggest accomplishments this year. So I suggest you try it. And that is the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Merry Christmas. I hope you have awesome and restful holidays, and I shall see you in 2020. Bye.